Welcome to a very special CK podcast edition here with my boy Anthony Colombo, the man behind Pistons Talk, the number one Pistons Instagram page in the whole world. My man, how you doing, brother?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back out again, man.
I'm excited to talk about the Pistons because they're growing inside of me. I feel like I'm developing a special love for them. That is, unless they don't draft Cade Cunningham and all of these smoke screens. uh, if they're true, I'm going to be really upset. If I'm upset, I'm sure you will be upset. So let's talk about some of the stuff that we're hearing right now with them potentially taking Jalen Green, and then we'll kind of get into what type of free agents you think are realistic, and then a quick 1 through 10 mock draft. But first and foremost, is this facts or are these foolishness?
There's some truth behind it.
Oh my God.
Now, I think there are certain people, like scouts in the organization, that really like Jalen Green. I think during, the whole year, they were really high on Mobley and Green. I don't think they believed that they were going to win the lottery. And they did. And now they're still kind of stuck on Green. Maybe they didn't scout Cade Cunningham as much because they didn't expect to win the lottery. But to me, he's still that first overall pick, and I still think there's a big talent gap between a Cade Cunningham and a Jalen Green.
And that gap to you is what? What does Cade Cunningham provide for the Pistons, and what does Jalen Green provide for the Pistons?
I think with Cade, you could play him arguably at three positions in the NBA right now. Now, does he play point guard? I don't know because they just drafted Killian Hayes last year. You could play him at shooting guard, which is your weakest position. Play him off ball and have Killian be your point guard, or shit, play him at small forward. But I think what he does the best is, he could take over games. We really haven't had that since Chauncey Billups, and that's going back a long way. We
Right.
really haven't had that closer. And I think defensively, he doesn't really get enough credit. People don't really talk about his defensive game. I mean, being 6'8" and being able to, be switchable at, the size that he is, I think that's what kind of separates him, for me personally, over Jalen Green. Not saying Jalen Green's a bad prospect by any means. Like, if we didn't win the lottery, he'd probably be like at the top of my board, like a top three pick easily. Love his scoring, athleticism. Definitely think he'll be a 20 point per game scorer as a rookie. But
Does he
I,
mesh well with Killian Hayes?
I think he would probably be the best fit next to him because you could kind of take that scoring load off of Jeremy Grant. Because Jeremy Grant, like, he was going crazy, the first like month of the season, but he just went down. Like he just wasn't, producing like he was. I think he could be a number two option if you wanted to do that, but Killian has to develop a lot of things for me to feel comfortable with drafting Green this summer.
100%. You and I had a lot of conversations about Killian Hayes and Tyrese
Hmm.
Halliburton.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't the Pistons take Tyrese Halliburton? Who knows? Troy Weaver does things a little bit differently.
Hmm.
Apparently, he's questioning whether or not you don't take K, which is crazy to me. But looking back at it, do you regret drafting Killian Hayes?
No, because I see the potential there. Like when I was looking at Halliburton, I
Hmm.
didn't think he would have any, struggles coming into the NBA because he already had a game that I thought that could translate very well. And I think Sacramento was a perfect fit for him because you have De'Aaron Fox there that can really help him play off ball, and I think that's just going to help him, long term. He could be a guy that you could bring off the bench, or you could, play him off ball at the shooting guard position because he's so dynamic shooting the ball and passing the ball, and he's a really good defender. But I think at the end of the day, we went for potential and not like immediate impact.
So with Killian Hayes, do you think he's better on the ball or off the ball?
The numbers say he's better off the ball, but the eye test says he's better on the ball. So it's kind of a weird situation. Like last couple games of the season, he was shooting 40% from three off the ball, which it's pretty good.
Right.
Small sample size, but you can kind of see what the Pistons were going for. And defensively, I think I maybe saw him get beat one time all year by Bradley Beal. Like he doesn't not like get beat on defensive schemes too often, and he's pretty good size, like 6'5", around 215 pounds for a point guard.
Right, both Killian and Tyrese are pretty tall for their sizes respectively. Okay, so this question is more so if you draft Cade Cunningham,
Mhm.
what is one free agent target that you would like? And then the follow up would be if you draft Jalen Green, what would that free agent target be?
And free agency is such a weird question right now because the type of contracts we have, we kind of have to wait because, like, the Corey Joseph thing, it's
Hmm.
not fully guaranteed. I think 2.4 million is guaranteed. If we waive him, I think we have to waive him in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and then we get 10 million cap space. You got Hamidou Diallo. You have Frank Jackson, who's a really good player. I think those are going to be our free agent signings is trying to keep Diallo, trying to keep Frank Jackson. I don't really think we're going to make too many moves. If we do, it's going to be a guy probably I've never even heard of
Hmm.
because we have so much dead cap space in Griffin, Dwayne Dedman, Zaire Smith, and Zan Musa. So, I mean, we got over $30 million in dead cap space.
What happened to Zaire Smith?
So he had a peanut allergy. Do you remember that
I don't.
in Philly? Also, he got really sick. He almost passed away.
What the
And
fuck?
yeah, you'll have to look it up. He got really sick. I believe we traded him away, Tony Bradley to Philly for Zaire Smith, and then we just waived Zaire Smith because he just wasn't physically, able to play basketball. So we're gonna be paying him, I think, for next year, and that'll be it. But I mean, I think our free agents are just gonna be trying to keep Diallo. Hopefully, we can keep him under that mid level. But I've heard reports he could get paid this summer, which
Mm,
I'm scared because he has the same agent as Christian Wood, and you know what happened there.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm scared, man, because Diallo is a guy that offensively he's still putting it together, but defensively, man, like he was rated the number one shooting guard coming out of high school. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a Troy Weaver guy too. So
He's talented. He's talented without question. I guess my last thing about you guys in the draft, I
mm,
remember before you won the lottery that you were like, "No, we're drafting Evan Mobley if we have like a top two or top three pick." Do you think that if he had a number two pick, that he'd be the guy, or was Jalen Green always the guy? Now with all these reports surfacing that they may take Jalen Green number one.
if I had to bet money on it, they're probably going to take Green just because they see the potential there. I mean, I was watching one of your videos with like possibly the Raptors
Hmm.
going up to get him. I think whatever team does draft him, man, like I could see some Bradley Beal in him. Like if you develop him correctly, like 20 point a game scorer, dynamic. Defensively, he's probably going to have to work a little bit, but I'm just nitpicking at that point. But
Yeah.
if we did have a number two, number three pick, I think they would go Green. But I personally would go Mobley because I think he kind of has a Joel Embiid type of.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really high on him. He's like a unicorn to me. Some people think he's going to be a bust. I don't know. I'm pretty high on him still.
So if you're, oh, well, so that's a perfect transition into our mock draft.
Mhm.
At number one, obviously Cade Cunningham. What do the Rockets do?
You know what? I think the Rockets go Jalen Green
Hmm.
because their track record with big men, they just don't like big men for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think they actually need a center, but I think a Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. would be really interesting to me. Plus, you got John Wall coming back. You could have a three guard lineup. That'd be pretty damn dynamic with them. You get Christian Wood back healthy. Not saying they're going to make the playoffs or anything, but I mean, they could be a really fun offensive team.
Okay. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green. Who do the Cavaliers take at number three?
They take Evan Mobley just in case those Jared Allen rumors are true about him getting 100 to 120 million. Maybe they're not
Jeez.
committed to it. Maybe they don't want
Why
to.
would you be committed to that? That's ridiculous.
Have you seen that reporting of him
I
getting a
haven't.
bat?
120?
Yeah, Cleveland.com wrote an article later this year saying that he could be seeking anywhere from 100 to 120 million at a max
Oh
contract.
my God. Is that more ridiculous or less ridiculous than Schroeder asking for 120?
That's a tough one because I like Allen personally.
Me
I think
too. Me
he's
too.
a nice player, but Schroeder freaking fell off a cliff. Like he was nice in OKC, he was nice in Atlanta. I don't know what happened. Goes to LA, like he forgot how to play.
Okay.
It that's probably ridiculous. He's probably getting 60 million if he's lucky.
I think some weird team will pay him 80. Honestly, and I hope it's not the Kings. Nah, it won't be the Kings or the Pistons. Uh,
But
okay, so we're at number 4. Who are the Raptors taking?
I got to go Jalen Suggs
No doubt. No
because
doubt.
I think Lowry's going to go to Philly with Embiid.
Me too.
Go home.
I do.
And I think Jalen Suggs is just a perfect point guard for them to draft. I mean, you got Van Vliet there. He could possibly, just fill in for Kyle Lowry, and they could have a franchise point guard for the next 10 to 12 years.
No doubt. At number 5, it's tough for me. But who are the Magic taking?
Uh, man, I think they're going to go based on just potential. I got Kaminga.
Okay. Why? Have I not convinced you enough that Scotty Barnes is going to be the best player in this draft? No, I'm just joking. He's definitely going to be top 3 player in this draft to me.
No, like the Barnes thing is interesting because I know, they drafted a forward from Florida State and Jonathan Isaac
Yep.
before, but you never really know if he's going to come back 100%. I think the idea of either drafting a Kaminga or a Scotty Barnes there, I like defensively. They could be really switchable. But I just think just Kaminga really has something there that I think if he developed properly, he could definitely be like a Kawhi type. I told you maybe a DeMar DeRozan type if you do develop him. He's a really hard player to kind of like scout and give comparisons because he's got a little bit of everything in his
Yep,
bag.
I agree. I agree. So at number 6, what do the Oklahoma City Thunder do?
They're taking Scotty Barnes.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes a
You
lot
know,
of
I,
sense.
I know they have Lou Dort and they just paid him, but I mean, I feel like
That's
outside
a
of him,
great trio, though. Dort,
yeah.
Scotty, and Shea.
And you got Kimba Walker now, so who knows if Kimba's even staying? He's probably getting traded by free
Yeah.
agency,
He's probably going to
honestly.
the
But
Pistons. I'm
oh man,
joking.
we almost traded for him a few years ago, but
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
No, I do like the defensive versatility that Scotty Barnes, Lou Dort, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander will give you. So yeah, I think that's a no-brainer for them. At number 7, this one's tough. What do the Warriors do?
if they keep the pick, they're going to take James Bouknight at 7.
Makes a
I
lot of
think
sense.
I think the Warriors would love his shooting, his athleticism. You could, bring him off the bench. Maybe Klay Thompson doesn't come back the same player. You know, I'm not saying that he's going to be a Klay Thompson type player, but he could definitely fill the role if maybe Klay gets hurt or whatever. I think that he would fit really well there, personally for me.
I'm gonna give you a little secret, which I haven't really released at all. I haven't talked about my big board at all, which I typically do a day or two before the NBA draft, because people have, there's a difference between your big board and the mock drafts. Obviously, Book Knight not going top 5 in a mock draft, but honestly, man, I have him in my top 5 in my
I,
on my big board. I think he's going to be a star. He's one of those guys that I have a great feeling on. People will talk
mhm.
about Jalen Green all the time. I'm talking about James Bouknight. The guy is a walking bucket. He's a 3-level scorer, and if the Warriors get this kid, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we were doing our draft show last week, because I expected to be around 5 or 6, Pistons they were willing to draft him around that 5 to 6 area because they've been high on him for the longest time, and I could see why. I mean, a friend of mine that's a scout said I could see him being the next Devin Booker, like
100%.
straight up. Like, don't look at the shooting numbers at UConn. don't look at him
He
because he
took
could.
so many tough shots. Like he was the entire offense. There needs to be context, the same context that Luka Doncic at Real Madrid. He had a horrible 3-point percentage. I told people just wait. He's taking tough shots. He's taking 4 shots with better spacing at the NBA level. Those numbers will go up. Just look at his mechanics. Just look at his free throw percentage. It'll be fine. And the only thing you can really knock Book Night on is his 3-point percentage. Everything else was fine. He was an elite finisher out the rim with both hands. So if you want to gripe on his 3-point shot not being as high of a percentage that you want to, I don't care. I've seen enough of him to where I'm like, it's going to translate. So he is that guy right now. I do have him in my top 5. He might move up, but man, dude, he has a little bit of Book, a little bit of Beal, a little bit of Donovan Mitchell in him. I just think he's
You're,
a hooper, bro.
I know that video you posted him dunking. I was like, man, that looks like Levine. Like, what the hell? Like, he was catching the ball like so far above the rim. He was like 12 feet in the air. I was like, shit.
Yeah, and honestly, I said it in my breakdown that he's not a Levine athlete because there's tiers to this, like Levine,
Mhm.
Zion, like that's a very unique tier. He's right under that.
Yeah.
Like he's super athletic. He's not a Levine athlete, but as you can tell in that video with this combine, like this dude is a great athlete. So I'm super high on him, and if the Warriors get him at 7, that's a steal to me. So at number 8,
Yeah.
the Magic are back. What do you do?
I'm gonna take Keon Johnson for them.
Whoa, that is surprising as hell. Why?
I think the Magic are in a rebuild right now, and I don't think they're really in a rush to win too many games. And I think you could take a gamble at 8. Now, I don't know who you have them taking at 8, but I think if you're getting Kaminga and um,
It's not
Keon
crazy. No,
Johnson,
no, they're definitely swinging for the fences. Like if this hits, he could be a star as well.
I mean, like for Orlando, I just want them to take chances. To me, I feel like they kind of just take safe picks. I think you take Keon Johnson now. He scares the shit out of me. I've told you I
Yep.
think he could bust out.
Yep, me too.
But if he doesn't bust out, you got a shooting guard of the future. I mean, you have Terran Frost still on the roster. You could probably trade him at the deadline. I mean, it's going to be a really young, fun team in Orlando.
Okay, so on number 9, what do the Sacramento Kings do?
This is tough. This is tough.
You got Moody, Sengun there. You still got Kispert. You still got Franz, Zaire Williams. Who else you got there?
So your center position kind of scares me because I think Rashawn Holmes is probably going to go to Charlotte.
Me too.
Because I know either they'll get Rashawn Holmes or Andre Drummond, one of the two. I don't really know which one they'd be more high on.
Or Dallas. He could go to Dallas.
Uh, I
Because they
think
don't want to run Porzingis at 5 no more. Like they're tired of watching Porzingis play 5 because he's just not that guy.
I know we talked about Elper Seepin before, but I think the Kings may go for another big man that I haven't talked with you about. I think Kai Jones
Okay,
would be a guy that may be a little crazy, but I see a
it's
lot of
not
potential
crazy.
in him. I see a little bit of Pascal Siakam in him. Honestly, like I think he's one of the most athletic centers in this draft, and I just trust when centers come out of Texas. I trust it. I mean,
Not me, Mo Bamba. I don't trust Mo Bamba.
he started putting games together. I mean, but Jared Allen was pretty nice.
Yeah,
I think that if you want to just swing for the fences, I mean, you could go Davion Mitchell. You could go a lot of different ways, but I really don't know what the Kings want to do personally. Like as an outsider, I would just keep Halliburton and Fox and blow it up. Personally, I don't know, man. It's really hard to make the playoffs out
So
west.
so Kai Jones. So that'd be your trio: Kai, Tyrese, and Fox.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, man. That's breaking news. Okay, so at number 10, last one for you, the New Orleans Pelicans. What do they do?
They're taking Davion Mitchell. I know they took Kyra Lewis last year, but I don't know. I was really high on Kyra Lewis. I don't know.
Yep, me
Maybe
too.
it was a Van Gundy thing, I'm probably going to assume it was a Van Gundy thing
Yep.
because he doesn't really play young guys, and I could go on a tangent of how we wasted Spencer Dinwiddie on the bench for
Oh my
years.
gosh, yes.
It didn't even play him until like 3 point guards were injured. But I think, Davion Mitchell, you could go Corey Kispert there if you want a
Yep.
forward to shoot threes. But I think Davion Mitchell's just not too talented not to go in the top 10. I think him and his teammate Jared Butler are probably going to go in the lottery personally.
Yeah. I was thinking Kispert, but just because I want more shooting around Zion and BI, but if you do draft Davion, would you say then you don't match any offer for Lonzo, right? And then
No.
with Kyra being there and Alexander being there, I think they really like both of those guys. What do you do with Kyra and with Alexander? Do you have to trade one of those two?
They're such an interesting team because of the Lonzo thing. I think Lonzo's probably going to go to Chicago or New York personally. I think those are the two teams that are probably going to go in a bidding war for him. Probably New York, though, if I have to be honest. They have a lot of cap space. But I think they could be in a running for a Damian Lillard. I really do. I think they have the draft capital. I think they have the young assets that Portland may want. Don't know what Damian Lillard thinks of Chauncey Billups. Saw a lot of mixed
Mm-hmm.
reporting out there.
Mm-hmm.
I know he wanted Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd said no. Chauncey Billups, I don't know. I think they could, if you really want to, secure your assets, you think you're going to lose Lonzo, just take Davion Mitchell.
Not bad, not bad. Any final words on the Pistons? Any type of hope that you give Pistons fans?
I would say that there is a lot of hope because most of these kids haven't taken off for California like they do every summer. You're in Cali. You probably see tons of NBA players. They're still here in Detroit.
Yeah.
They're still working out. I mean, they're right down the street working out at Wayne State University,
Yep.
working out every day. I mean, Isaiah Stewart. I think I saw Tyrese Halliburton and Sadiq Bey are going to be part of that USA team.
Yep.
So they get to work out with all the players that are going to be on the USA team. So I think that's going to be really good for their development. Wouldn't be surprised if they sneak into a play-in tournament this year because they weren't trying last year. Like straight up, we were tanking.
No doubt. And if you do draft Cade Cunningham, hopefully you do, I can see that definitely happen in year one. Like, he's that good to me.
Yeah, I mean, like Dwayne Casey would just literally sub out Mason Plumlee. We had like a maybe 6 point lead, and then he would just have him in the fourth. He wouldn't even bring him into the fourth quarter to be like a 20 point deficit. That's like I see what you're doing, man.
Any projects that you're working on right now, brother?
Personally, no, man. I mean, it's pretty dead right now for like NBA news. I mean, I might post a little bit here on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Mostly working here now at Woodward Sports Network here. It's a sports network here in Birmingham, but I mean, nothing really, man.
Perfect, perfect. Where can people follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube at Pistons Talk.
There it is, y'all. If y'all enjoyed this, we're both in agreement that the Pistons should and will take Cade Cunningham. There's a lot of smoke screens going on that they may take Jalen Green. We don't buy it. Well, Anthony says he kind of buys into it, but I don't buy into it. I think it's just a bunch of baloney. And I hope you guys make the right decision, man, because as you guys can see what the Kings did at number 2, Luka was an obvious pick, just like Cade is an obvious pick. You never know. You go against the grain, and you fell, and now you're backed up for the next decade.
You won't even say his name, will you? You didn't even say his name. Just dodged it.
All right, y'all. So on behalf of the entire Basketball Zone Cowbell Kingdom family, we thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.